Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 9:01, it's 42 degrees and cloudy, mid-60s near the lake, mid-70s inland, watching for thunderstorms arriving late tonight. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. New this morning, a Milwaukee police officer now facing federal charges for allegedly using his position in law enforcement to aid a convicted felon. Juan Madlock is in District 6 and accused by the FBI of using police databases to provide confidential information to a known member of a violent street gang, including addresses of rival gang members. MPD says Madlock has resigned from the department and that they are fully cooperating with the FBI investigation. 3 additional Milwaukee public schools set to close on Monday due to unsafe lead dust levels. Starnes Early Childhood Center, Fernwood Montessori, and La Follette School among a list of 10 total schools that are being looked at by MPS and the Milwaukee Health Department for unsafe lead dust levels. You can view the full list online at WTMJ.com. Meanwhile, 1,000 MPS students expected to be tested for elevated levels of lead in their system Saturday.
It's part of the state health department's goal to locate and identify lead in students from 4 MPS schools. Kristen Payne is a parent of an MPS student who's doing her best to inform parents of the clinics.
We're trying hard to get the information out. We've got Instagram going, Facebook going, making sure that folks know about the clinic information.
Michael Harris with MPS on medical personnel on site.
MPS will have some of its nurses, parent coordinators, Milwaukee Rec on site to just support, to get folks in, make folks comfortable, and go through the process.
Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
Hamas saying they're set to free the last living U.S. hostage held in Gaza this morning. ABC's Matt Gutman.
Hamas appears to be willing to agree to release American-Israeli hostage Idan Alexander and the bodies of 4 other citizens, American citizens as well. We don't understand if that is part of a larger negotiation or if that's part of this side deal that was talked about last week between American hostage envoy Adam Boehler and Hamas.
Meanwhile, talks continuing this week in Doha on the next phase of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. And southeast Wisconsin's first thunderstorms of 2025 expected to roll through late tonight. WTMJ meteorologist Craig Copleen on Wisconsin's Morning News says while some storms could be on the strong side, the timing of their arrival could keep most below severe limits.
When storms come through that late at night, the atmosphere is typically not as unstable as it is during the afternoon. So we'd be moving into a relative minimum in terms of severe weather threat.
Your complete WTMJ 5-day forecast coming up in about 4 minutes. Time now for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. We've been begging for some good news on Wall Street all week. Well, I've got it for you this morning. Green numbers for all 3 of the big 3 right now. At this hour, the Dow up 339 points at 41,153, while the NASDAQ gaining 266 at 17,569, and the S&P 500 clawing their way back towards 6,000 points, up 64 this hour at 5,586. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 9:05.
Are you looking for a new car or truck? Well, good news. Inventories have really improved lately, and I have a few ideas to help you find the vehicle of your dreams. I'm Jim Token, president of Adam, the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. The first step to getting that car of your dreams is to visit any of the 115 Adam member dealerships, where you can see their selection in person and take test drives. You can also find out about the new cars they have on order and reserve the one you want. Or if you really want to get the exact car you're dreaming of, they can order it for you. It might take a few weeks for delivery, but hey, wouldn't it be nice to have the perfect vehicle built just for you? This is your chance. Plus, if you're thinking of trading in your current car or ending your lease early, you'll be amazed at what dealers are offering. And if you prefer to handle the negotiations and paperwork remotely, no problem. Most Adam dealers will even bring cars to you for test drives. So don't wait. Start your search now. Find an Adam member dealer near you at adamm.com.
Get help for your house this Saturday from Eric Brown. The president of Siding Unlimited knows his stuff. Yes, their name is Siding, but they do so much more. Windows by Pella and others, roofing, decks. That's why they are Siding Unlimited. Eric can advise you with anything about your home's exterior. Make a point to listen and call Eric this Saturday on WTMJ's Fix It Show. And remember why they are called Siding Unlimited. They are siding and much, much more. See sidingunlimited.com and you'll see.
Wherever you are in Wisconsin, there's a free and confidential Aging and Disability Resource Center, ADRC, or Tribal Partner Agency. We're here for older adults, adults with disabilities, and your families. ADRCs are a bridge to support for benefits and financial assistance, transportation, in-home care, and more. Get to know your local ADRC and connect with resources today. Call toll-free 1-844-WIS-ADRC or go to findmyadrc.org. Paid for by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Time now for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk.
Here's a lob up top. Great feed from Dame up top to Sims, who sends it down with a thunderous two-hand slam and a great 1-2 punch there. Starting to see that more often. Jericho Sims, he's a rim runner.
Sure is, Dave Kane. The call there on WTMJ, Milwaukee team effort would be more than enough to beat the Lakers 126-106 in a game that did not include LeBron James for LA. Bucks on a 3-game skid. They now have a rematch this weekend with the Pacers Saturday night. This after Indiana's 1-point win earlier this week on a Tyrese Halliburton 4-point play. Conference tournament action continuing today for Marquette and Wisconsin men's basketball. Golden Eagles will face 6th-ranked St. John's in the Big East semis this evening, while the Badgers get 4-seed UCLA in the Big Ten quarterfinals later this afternoon. Badgers Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited. It's siding it a whole lot more. And we've got Brewers baseball for you this afternoon on WTMJ from the desert as the Crew take on the Giants at American Family Fields of Phoenix. Our coverage begins at 3 here on your home of the Brewers, WTMJ. Checking the roads now, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Just one incident, and it's a minor one. Broken down vehicle on the right shoulder, 94 south at Rawson, just south of the airport there. Everywhere else is looking good this hour.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Rich Lawns Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlawns.com when you're due for service.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, partly cloudy, more clouds for some of us away from the lake than others. It will be warm as well, 65 lakeside up to 74 inland. We are watching for showers and thunderstorms moving through late tonight, talking about after 11 o'clock this evening. Some of those storms could be on the strong side with a low down to 50. Will be breezy as well. That wind continues Saturday, mostly cloudy, isolated showers, low 60s for highs. Winds could gust around 45 miles an hour. Gets a lot colder Sunday, high of 41, chance of flurries. Your St. Patrick's Day Monday, mostly sunny, a high of 53, back up to 60 Tuesday under partly cloudy skies. Right now in Madison, mostly cloudy, 53. Green Bay, clouds and 48, 52 and cloudy in Waukesha. And in Milwaukee, plenty of cloud cover and 46 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 9:09.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
Oh, happy Friday, everybody. Happy Pi Day to those who celebrate.
Pi Day. I forgot it was Pi Day.
Well, when you're married to a math teacher, you know, it's like, other than her birthday, maybe Christmas, this is the big one.
This is the day.
Yeah. Now, a quick story about radio. In the old days at Radio City up on Capitol Drive, we'd get pies like crazy delivered to the station. There's not a piece of bakery upstairs to be seen.
It's about 16 cases of soda.
I saw that.
Though.
I saw that.
You guys having a party without us?
Feel free to. Those are free if you'd like one.
I thought we were swearing off soda, Steve. We're on our diets.
Yeah,
we're trying to stay
I'm
away
down
from
to
that.
one a day.
Really?
That's good. Yeah. That's good. I want to say, just because this is the first time the crew has been assembled in a while, everybody's looking fantastic.
So are you. Springtime. You're down 35. I'm down 25.
Bill's peeling.
I'm peeling because I've been on assignment for 3 weeks last Friday in Miami.
Working in South Beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, last time I checked, taking a phone call in on a beach is not working, but you can.
It worked for me. It worked for me.
Well, that's all that matters. All right, gentlemen, we had a Wisconsin Supreme Court debate. Susan Crawford, Dane County Judge, Brad Schimmel from Waukesha County, a terrific guy. And I always tell people I am personally biased because I know Brad. I've introduced him at many events. I like Brad. I've never met Susan Crawford. Show notes. We're interviewing both of them on Tuesday.
Good.
We will have our show Wednesday. Will be those interviews on the radio on this show. So look forward to those conversations. We're asking them the same questions. All right, Bill, you go first. This debate was on Channel 12. My friend Matt Smith, who joins me on a pretty frequent basis, and Jaron Jordan hosted this debate. One, I was impressed with the debate, but beyond sort of the trappings, takeaways from Wednesday. Was it Wednesday?
It was Wednesday night.
Yeah,
Few things. For the listeners, Joe and I are on up front with Jaron Jordan and Matt this weekend discussing the debate. I'll try not to repeat any of those things. I give them a lot of credit for getting the debate. Remember, we have 2 statewide races. We'll talk about both of them today. But this is the only debate out of either of those races, and that's unfortunate for voters. I mean, I think it's important for voters to get a sense of who these folks are, what they may do when they're on the court. For me, I was in Janesville on Wednesday night, and I tried to find it on the radio on my drive back, and I couldn't find it. So it was you had to be pretty tuned in to get it, and then if you watched it, you had to sort of understand court speak because they got into some court lingo that I'm not sure the average voter would have followed. But here's my takeaway. I think the biggest thing, you look for moments in this, and I'll talk about one moment. But the biggest takeaway for me was what happened afterwards. If you wanted to know which team either of these potential candidates was going to be on, you got your signal after the debate when Susan Crawford stood with the 4 current liberal Supreme Court justices. I think it was unseemly for the current justices to be in the room. I think it was even more unseemly for them to be standing at a press conference with one of the candidates. You are effectively saying, this is our team. If you elect us, if you like what's gone on with the court over the last 12 months, you're going to get more of that if Susan Crawford gets elected. So I think that was actually a massive mistake by her campaign. Lastly, I would say this. As far as takeaways, the moment I think probably will resonate, and we're going to see on the TV over the next couple of weeks, is when Matt Smith asked Susan Crawford about this O'Brien case, which is a man that violently raped a 5-year-old. And she said that she followed court guidelines. That's not accurate. The court says, the statute said she could have given this gentleman 60 years. The prosecutors asked for 10 years. Susan Crawford gave him 4 years. And Matt Smith asked her, do you regret that? And she said, no. I think we're going to see that over the last 14 days of this race, and it could turn out to be decisive.
Joseph Hecky.
That exchange was interesting because she made it about the fact that defendant, that criminal, had not reoffended. And she cited a couple examples of Schimmel cases where he went a little easier than the sentencing guidelines, and they did reoffend. My main takeaway is really difficult to watch. And I think Bill and I are kind of in agreement on that this is just so weird and messed up the way that we run these campaigns where they can they can't talk about some things,
but here are my values.
But here are my values. But boy, I'm happy to talk about my
that's the
opponent.
nature of what they're going to hopefully achieve. So I don't know what you want them to do with that.
It makes it virtually unwatchable for people who are trying to figure out who to support.
Can I disagree on that?
Sure.
I'm watching 2 people that are trying to get on our Supreme Court. Yeah. I want to see how they react to questions. I want to see their demeanor. I want to see their level of intelligence, and I want to see their expertise when it comes to the law. That's what my takeaway.
And that leads to what I thought was the defining moment of the entire hour. It came very late. My concern is that people might have tuned out because if they genuinely wanted information about these candidates and they were watching for the first 55 minutes, they may have said, I don't know how to make heads or tails of this. But towards the end of the debate, there was a question about, listen, partisans are lining up on either side behind these 2 candidates. And Matt Smith asked, can you point to a time when the people who are supporting you would have been disappointed in a ruling you made? And Brad Schimmel
was a good question.
Stammered around and went, blah, blah, blah. I can't.
He wasn't ready for the
think
question.
Of one.
Yeah.
And Judge Crawford was ready to go and said, listen, when the lame duck laws that were passed after Scott Walker and Brad Schimmel lost their election in 2018, the legislature stripped a bunch of powers from those offices. The governor signed them, and Democrats challenged that in court. Judge Crawford, who is being supported by Democrats, had no problem saying, I can't find any constitutional issue here. I got to throw this case out. So when they both talk about being independent, only one of them could actually cite an example where they were. That's Susan Crawford.
All right.
I'd give kudos to Matt Smith and Jaron Jordan. These guys are likable. They asked very good questions. They're smart, and they weren't the story on Wednesday night. And that's the ideal host.
They didn't perform. They did what their job was, to ask the questions and conduct a debate.
Yeah.
How they moderated it, how they conducted themselves, perfect. Well done, Channel 12, Matt Smith, Jaron Jordan. All right, after the break, another race to talk about. I don't know if this one's getting the attention of the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. It's certainly not the money. DPI, Department of Public Instruction, superintendents. We'll discuss after this on 620 WTMJ.
So close you can smell the rubber on their shoes. Okay, maybe not that close, but as close as you can get. Bucks Insiders on Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
Here's the pass inside to Giannis. Giannis guides it through as he took the feed from Lillard, his second assist to Giannis.
It's Bucks Insiders every Thursday at 12:35. Sponsored by Best Electric and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. I love talking about Milwaukee weight loss because it changed my life. I know I've used that term before for other things, but I've been on this journey for 2 months now. Just wrapped up my reduction phase, lost 35 pounds at weigh-in. Just had that done, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. Their doctors have developed an easy-to-follow weight loss program. I followed it, so therefore it is easy. It helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely, no drugs, no injections, no serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, all that stuff. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to. I'm a walker, so I do that. But their program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. I'll be on this program for a year. And a coach that's always there via email, phone, or in person for ongoing support. Their program, get this is a distinction that matters, costs up to half as much as other programs and works twice as fast. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free, emphasizing free there, consultation. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. I was 35. I'm a success story. You can be too. Here's what you got to do. Schedule your free consultation today. Don't wait. Do it right now. 262-449-1180. 262-449-1180. Online also at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. How about that? Results may vary.
Get prepped and ready for a lush lawn this season with great deals at Fleet Farm. Save $5 on all Scott's Sun and Shade grass seed in convenient 3, 7, and 20-pound bags. Scott's Turf Builder Crabgrass Preventer with lawn food is just $69.99 after rebate. Plus, Field and Forest denim jeans for men, perfect for yard work, are priced right at $9.99 and up. Stock up on all your seasonal lawn and garden supplies at the best prices guaranteed at Fleet Farm.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that had been away.
Bump song as we celebrate all the boys being in the same room together. Bill McCosha, Joseph Pecky, Joe on the left, Bill on the right, me.
Your left.
Not in the studio.
You're right.
Yeah.
I can be both, but I typically vote Republican and right. So I'm taking it for what it's worth. People like to criticize me for having an open mind, but frankly, I think we need more of that in this country.
I agree.
All right, so there's another race that matters. Department of Public Instruction Superintendent Jill Underly, who is the current inhabitant in that office. I'm not a big fan of hers, but she's up for re-election. And a potential guest for next week, Brittany Kinzer, who sort of, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, sort of represents a different way to look at that position. You agree with that?
I totally agree.
I'll let you go first. What does this race say to you?
I'm disappointed that Dr. Underly will not debate Brittany Kinzer. And frankly, I think it ought to be in Milwaukee. If there were only one debate, it ought to be here in Milwaukee. And
Makes sense.
MPS ought to be a major subject in that debate. And the fact that Underly won't debate, to me, signals that she doesn't believe she can defend lowering state standards for kids. That's Kinzer's number one calling card. I think the unique part of this race is Kinzer's got the ability to actually get crossover votes. I don't think Jill Underly will get a single Brad Schimmel voter. I think Brittany Kinzer actually can get Susan Crawford voters, and I think she's well positioned for an upset. Why do I say that? Whether you agree with WMC's poll that came out this week or IRG's poll that came out a week before that, the incumbent, Jill Underly, was either at 33% or 20%. If you are an incumbent and you are in the 30s a couple weeks out from the election, that's a 5-alarm fire.
Yeah, warning signs.
It is a very tough spot. Kinzer has more money going into the home stretch. We'll see if the Democratic Party of Wisconsin dumps in $1 million like they did 2 years ago. but Kinzer appears to have a 3-1 advantage on cash heading into it, and she's got a positive message on TV. I think this race is ripe for an upset, and Jill Underly playing hide and seek is not a smart strategy.
Joe, what do you see in this race?
If a statewide race is a tree and it falls in a forest, does anyone hear it? Because that's what this race is. It's totally under the radar. For the folks who have had a hard time getting information, Jill Underly has been superintendent of public instruction for 4 years. She is in that position at a time when high school graduation rates have never been higher in Wisconsin. She is an unabashed defender of public education. Her opponent, Brittany Kinzer, is someone who is a voucher school or choice school lobbyist who has never, not for a single day in her career, held a valid Wisconsin teaching license. And the money behind her, the reason she's able to be on TV, are the same people who are trying to dramatically expand the voucher program they already have in the last 15 years, which has meant money out of public schools. The reason we keep having school districts have to go to referendum is money is being sucked out of the public schools and put to subsidize people who want to go to private school. And listen, if parents want to send their kids to private school, I got no problem with that. I got a problem with the state making decisions to subsidize parents who are already making that choice. That's not where public dollars
On the
should
resume
go.
question, do you have to be a teacher to be an administrator of teachers?
You don't have to, but I think it does speak to, if you want to lead school districts statewide, you should have some experience in the classroom, and Ms. Kinzer does not.
That's false. She's a special ed teacher, and she's a reading instructor now. She's also been a principal. But where Joe and I disagree is, what is this race really about? It's about raising standards for kids. It's about transparency at DPI. And I think those are appealing messages for not just Republican voters on April 1st, but I think Democratic voters. I think the chance for Kinzer to get crossover votes is very, very high. And the last thing I will say, to Joe's point, we're graduating more kids that can't read. 3 out of 10 kids can't read at grade level here in the state of Wisconsin. And for minority kids, it's 1 out of 10 that can read at grade level. It's a 5-alarm fire that this state needs to do something about.
I agree with Bill. You cannot talk about this race or education and not focus on MPS. And here, the startling thing for me is we have half as many students as we did in the heyday of MPS. There's a lot of money going into the school district. It's not being spent properly. That is a question for an administrator, an adult in charge of a big program in the state of Wisconsin. That has to be point number one when you get into office. What are you doing about MPS? For years and decades, we are not fixing the problem. And that is a failure on a lot of different places.
The largest school choice program, sorry, Joe, in Wisconsin is actually open enrollment. That's public to public. That means you went from Brookfield High School to Brookfield Central to Brookfield East, right? You're not going to a private school. That is the largest school choice program in the state and will continue to be.
Last point.
You mentioned literacy. Underly also played a role in that literacy package that Voss is holding up the money for. So the Republicans and Democrats came together, came up with a program to improve literacy, and now they're not releasing the money. What are we doing here?
Too much inside baseball, but Jill Underly was never in the Capitol on that. She had her aides working that, a guy named Tom McCarthy. She has yet to meet with either chairman of the Education Committee and has never met with either the leaders or the co-chairs of finance ever.
Don't sleep on that race. It's important, just like the other race is important. All right. Funding the government. Whew, that's next.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend? John Mercure here. I've got a great idea for you. Hang out with us and get up to speed on all the cool stuff happening in our state. It's Experience Wisconsin every Saturday at 1 o'clock. We will check out places from Lake Superior to the Illinois border, from the Mississippi to Lake Michigan. Take you inside the cool stuff that's going on. This week, I'm really excited. We'll visit the White Lace Inn and the town of Brookfield. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturdays at 1, right here on 620 WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Annex Wealth Management. Just did a webinar out there at their new location. On the way to retirement, there are many decisions you need to make, and it's easy to miss a few. Trust me, I missed a few, and now I'm back in the right line for eventually retirement. I'm not going there yet. But it's time to focus with Annex Wealth Management. There's an art and a science to successful retirement planning. They taught me that. Sure, savings and investments are important, but so is making sure your retirement plan is aligned with your goals. That's the way Annex does it. They'll guide you step by step. Important decisions like Social Security, Roth conversions, that's a big topic nowadays, how to implement smart tax planning. Annex is a fee-only fiduciary. That matters. It's about you, not commissions. Great talent. All-star team at Annex. They're CFPs, CFAs, CPAs, PhDs, and attorneys. I met a bunch of them this week. all on staff, ready to help on your plans for investment, retirement, estate, and tax planning. No one is the same. Annex understands that. When you're a client of Annex, help is only a visit or a quick phone call away. It won't happen until you make that decision to take action and know the difference. Start at annexwealth.com.
You can search for the biggest bat selection, but I'm here to save you time because the best baseball and softball bat selection in the Midwest is right here at Burkhardt Sporting Goods. We stock just about every bat on the market from all the top manufacturers like Easton, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Marucci, and more, and sell them all at the guaranteed lowest prices. So get in here and try a few out in our indoor batting cages. There's no need to look any further because when it comes to bats, if you want it, we got it at Burkhardt Sporting Goods.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
When you run a team, you want great uniforms, and you know selling spirit wear is vital. That's why Burkhardt Sporting Goods will create a free custom website for you to sell your families and players the coolest spirit wear from Nike and Under Armour, as well as the basics, while helping you fundraise at the same time. We take the hassle out of coordinating your team's apparel and make shopping and buying easy. So when you need awesome spirit wear and uniforms for your organization, you can't beat Burkhardt.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Vita Hearing Care. They've made a difference in my life. They changed my life. I can hear better now, thanks to the incredible faux neck hearing aids that I have, and you can check these bad boys out, too. There's a very cool event coming up. It's a VIP lunch and listening event. It's free. It's March 19th at Mealy Cafe in Racine over the lunch hour. It's going to be very cool, but you need to reserve your spot. It's free. Call 262-800-1060, 262-800-1060. Let them change your life at Vita Hearing Care.
All right, we got bottom of the hour news. I think it's Adam Roberts this morning. We'll find out who shows up. And, of course, the latest from ABC. Real quickly, gentlemen, the government has to be funded. There's a looming shutdown, less than 13 or 14 hours until that happens. Both sides seem to have been coming to some sort of a resolution. Interesting use of words since the continuing resolution. Apparently, they can never really fix this because they can never do an actual budget. They have to extend. Gentlemen, real quick, Joe first.
Well, what good is a budget when you have an executive branch that is not following the laws passed by Congress? And so this is the impossible situation that Senate Democrats find themselves in.
Agreed.
Which is, okay, let's say they vote to fund the government, and then the Trump administration doesn't actually spend the dollars, which is what's happening, as opposed to, do you not fund the government, let it shut down? I mean, there will be departments that this administration never opens again, despite the fact that they are statutorily created. And so it's a tough place for Democrats to be. They will figure it out. But at the end of the day, the Trump team owns this. This is their government. What they are doing, laying off tens of thousands of veterans, demolishing agencies that were created by law, that's on the Trump administration, not on Democrats.
So Joe came to play on that one. I like that. I'm good with this. I'm surprised that Democrats have seen the light. I think Joe has characterized this correctly, which is they're between a rock and a hard place on this. Schumer would own this if the government shuts down, and if it does shut down, do Republicans care? And do they bring people back out? You know, this could have gone really bad for Democrats. So I think they will get to cloture tonight, which is the 60-vote threshold to move the bill forward to final passage. I think it probably only passes with 51 or 52. Rand Paul has said he's a no on it. Right. It's not a big difference from current spending. It's only $20 billion less than current spending.
You think Donald Trump was kind of hoping for a shutdown?
No, I think he wants it to keep going. I think he wants to keep the team together so he can get to the reconciliation bill.
This one from the 262. I don't know. This is sort of a mean one, but I think it's Brian from the 262.
He's a little cranky today.
Listen to this one. This is, if it is who I think it is. They say the camera adds 10 pounds. Why are you using 3 cameras for my caution?
Oh, that's got to be from Fraley.
Oh,
Shots
that's got to be
fired.
Fraley. Get to work, Fraley, if that's you. All right, we got a lot more to get to on the program today. The grab bag, certainly at the end. I've got an interesting one that it caught my attention last night. I had not thought about this, and it goes back more than a quarter century, but it's profound. And I have some comments on that. We'll see what the guys have to say. And who knows what else we're going to talk about. Rogers Love, you never know what the guys are going to bring up for that. We have local news, I think, with Adam Roberts. But before we get to any of that, here is now the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Hamas says it will release American-Israeli hostage Idan Alexander and the bodies of 4 other dual U.S.-Israeli citizens, but it's unclear if that is part of a larger negotiation or if that's part of a side deal that was discussed last week in the Middle East. Clearing the way for a budget that will keep the federal government open past this weekend.
Senate Democrats reversing course. They were trying to block a Republican proposal in protest of President Trump, Elon Musk, and those sweeping cuts. But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he will now vote to keep the government open, insisting that while these policies are bad, a government shutdown is worse, he says.
ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott in Washington. President Trump, who a year ago was in the middle of 2 federal prosecutions, both now dismissed, will visit the Justice Department today, laying out what he says is his agenda for the DOJ. Strong storms starting to push across the middle part of the country. High winds, even tornadoes. Further north, they're expecting blizzard conditions. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 9:31. I'm Adam Roberts. A Milwaukee police officer now facing federal charges, accused of using his position in law enforcement to aid a convicted felon. His name, Juwan Madlock of District 6. He's accused by the FBI of using police databases to provide confidential info to a known member of a violent local street gang, including the addresses of rival gang members. MPD says Madlock has resigned from his position and that the department is fully cooperating with the FBI. 3 more MPS schools closing temporarily from unsafe lead dust levels. Starnes Elementary Childhood Center, Fernwood Montessori, and La Follette School in Milwaukee would close temporarily starting on Monday for cleaning and lead dust testing. 7 more schools are currently being investigated by the City Health Department for lead dust levels. You can view that full list online at WTMJ.com. And 1 person in the hospital after a chemical spill early this morning in Waunakee. The spill reported near Uniacke Drive and Ramish Road. Chemicals leaking after they came into contact with the bumper of a trailer. That created toxic fumes and heat up to around 115 degrees Fahrenheit. While the spill has been contained and there is no danger to the public, the Madison Fire Hazard Incident Team is setting up a 300-foot perimeter as the investigation continues. Time now for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The market's opening higher this morning, buoyed by a possible deal to avert a government shutdown. Right now, the Dow is up 318 points at 41,131, while the Nasdaq sits up 238 at 17,541, and the S&P 500 up 60 points this morning at 5,582. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Let's check the roads now. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Still just dealing with that 1 broken down vehicle near the airport, 94 south at Rawson. That is on the right shoulder there. Your drive times are looking excellent this hour. No major incidents or delays on the system. And your WTMJ forecast, watching for some storms arriving very late this evening. Your day today will be a warm one, 64 near the lake up to 74 inland. That will come with some gusty southerly winds today as well. Then those storms arrive late tonight. Some could be on the strong side with a low down to 50. Continued windy for your Saturday, up to 45 mile per hour gusts at times. Will be a little bit cooler tomorrow, a high of 61. Some isolated showers also possible. Cooler Sunday, flurries and a high of 41. Back up to 53 for your St. Patrick's Day with mostly sunny skies and partly cloudy, mild on Tuesday and a high of 60 degrees. Right now in Janesville, it's mostly cloudy and 54. In Glendale, clouds and 49. And in Milwaukee, cloudy skies and 48 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 9:34.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. Or it can make you try any and everything. And most times, that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint? It's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain. Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. You want to know the price of a new roof on your home today? Well, it's easy. Just go to TriCountyContractingWI.com, click on the Instant Roof Quote button, put in your address and email, click the Show My Roof Price, and there you go. Zero wait time. There's your quote. You shop online for everything else. Who says you can't shop online for a new roof? TriCountyContractingWI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. TriCountyContractingWI.com.
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. With the trending spring and summer European travel season, Fox European experts mean you can maximize your time soaking up the warm weather, blooming flowers, and vibrant landscapes without worrying about your travel or missing a moment. Port hop along the Mediterranean with Celebrity or Holland America, or design your own bucket list adventure with Globus. Visit us online or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. Your European immersion awaits.
Hey everybody, this is Max and welcome to the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ. Bill and Joe, get to work.
Oh, I had to bring that one back.
We're waiting for some jokes from Max.
I've been at work, Max. Talk to this guy next to me.
I've been working remote.
I just talked to Max last week, and we're
I
hanging
got
out.
special dispensation from the White House.
He's got a whole new lineup of material that he's going to do. He may get beyond jokes. He might do a little segment.
Let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday gig.
Have him do a tight five.
Yeah. We'll get his grab bag every week.
He's so involved in sports now. It's like he's playing like 3 sports at his age of 9 years old. It's like insane now. Anyway, gentlemen, we have to come up with something to talk about. What should we talk about this segment?
I think we should talk about free speech.
All right, because I spent a lot of the time yesterday talking about that.
And I'm sure you did a wonderful job. There is something extraordinary happening right now.
But here comes the rebuttal.
Yeah.
Which is...
But here's why you suck, Steve.
That's not what I said.
I know.
Every American should be deeply concerned that there is a law on the books that allows the Secretary of State to just pull someone off the street who is a legal resident of the United States, even if they do not believe or suspect that they have broken any laws of this country, and hold them in ICE detention facilities. If the gentleman I'm talking about, Khalil Mahmoud, lives in New York City, his wife, who is a U.S. citizen, is 8 months pregnant. They took him late at night. He is now in a detention center in Louisiana and is not suspected of breaking any laws. That is deeply concerning and should be chilling to every American. If you really believe in free speech, you have to be willing to defend the rights of people who are saying things you find reprehensible to say it. There's not a damn thing that this man said in those protests that I agree with, but I have to defend his right to say it. Bill, you and I don't agree on much, but we will defend each other's rights to say it. When the state has the power to say we don't like what this person is saying and cook up some insanity that, like, the mere act of him saying this at a campus protest is somehow a threat to national security, so we can whisk him away in the middle of the night, move him half a country away, and hold him in detention without, for up to a day, even giving him access to talk to his lawyers, that should be deeply concerning to every American.
I'm with you on all the free speech stuff, and I think I've been consistent about that. I think you have to be able to accept speech you don't agree with. In this particular case, I did not know until this week that the Secretary of State had this
Neither
power.
did I.
And I listened to Marco Rubio give an explanation for it, and this gentleman came on a student visa and then a green card, so he's not a citizen. His wife may be, but he's not. But those are, in Rubio's words, that's a privilege to get that, and that can be revoked. And the thing at Columbia is sort of bigger than this, and I'm not minimizing the free speech aspect of this, but students, Jewish students, couldn't go to classes last spring. It was violent. It was they were threatened. That's not right in America. It doesn't matter what religion you are, whether you're Muslim, Israeli, whatever. You should be able to go to class safely, especially when you're paying $100,000 a year to go there. And somehow Columbia got away from that and didn't protect these kids. I don't exactly know how this Mahmoud got all sucked up into that, but I think what is trying to be done here is return some order at the campus.
I got a lot of texts on this issue because I had talked about it yesterday, and just sampling and sort of paraphrasing. People are concerned, and they agree generally on the free speech stuff, but if someone comes here and is outwardly promoting a terrorist organization like Hamas, Is that something you worry about? Is that free speech, or does that go too far? I guess that's the sort of the other question that's out there.
There is a difference between providing material support, right? If this young man was suspected of being in communication with Hamas, we would know that, right? That's where all the NSA wiretapping comes in, when people are talking to terrorists abroad. And if Hamas was saying, hey, go do this, this is part of an information operation. But if they suspected that, they would have told us that. They would have charged him with a crime. There's no belief anywhere that that's what's happening.
I don't know if that statement's true. They may be investigating what he's actually
where
involved
Steve is
in.
on that. I'm not sure we know.
I'm
that
not sure
yet.
we know everything right now.
But I think
this is an individual who participated in protests that were very violent. That's
your response
part
to
of the
this
story.
was measured and smart. I think the left's response in New York City yesterday, where they stormed Trump Tower, was a gigantic mistake.
I agree.
Bill McCutcheon, Joseph Pecky, the Friday edition origin story, the Political Power Hour on 620 WTMJ. After the break, Rogers Love. What do you love? What do you hate? What do you got? Get rid of. Get it out of here. That's next, 620 WTMJ.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. For Advent, I never get tired, because I sleep all night, but never get tired of talking about Advent either. It is a game changer, a lifesaver for some people. Poor sleep, tossing and turning, snoring, sometimes not just getting enough oxygen. I went to Advent 5 years ago now, 30-minute visit. They put me at ease, answer my questions. That is normal. That's how they do it at Advent. They will sit and have that conversation with you before you get to anything, any procedures, any other things happen. They will make sure they've figured out what your problem is and they'll work through it. I went for a 30-minute procedure. Changed my life, as I said. I'm back to breathing better than ever, sleeping through the whole night. If you want that rested and refreshed feeling in the morning like I get every morning, you want to sleep through the whole night, not toss and turn, not snore and bother your bed partner. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better. Honest to God, go to adventknows.com. Schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Now it's time for Love and Rogers on the Political Power Hour.
Airs it out. Complete.
What makes you wanting more?
We got to find a way to go win.
And what makes you want to tear your hair out?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, anytime you can hear Aaron Rodgers. Well, I can't say that anymore because he irritates the heck out of me now, too. All right.
And he may be a Viking.
You think so? I hope not.
The prophecy must be fulfilled.
Yeah. Is that the prophecy? Thank you, Producer Jazz. All right, Bill McCoshen, what are you going with?
All right, I am loving Madison Edgewood High School hockey team.
Oh, what a surprise.
Beat, I mentioned it last Friday.
I know
they
you did.
beat Brookfield in overtime, double overtime last Friday in the semifinals. They beat Green Bay Notre Dame Saturday night at Cap Ice in Madison for their first ever state championship. This was, I think, a divine intervention. The guy who spent more time with the program, Steve Rothering, who passed away last year of cancer. His son Pete coaches the program, and Drew Lentz, a young man who was one of the top scorers in the history of the program, who passed away sadly just a couple weeks ago in a snowboarding accident. I think they helped guide that team. So my hats off to Madison Edgewood and Coach Rothering for their first ever state championship.
Very cool.
I am Rogersing, which is to say, moving on from and infuriated by math gimmicks on Capitol Hill. Donald Trump is embracing Senate Republicans' plan to just pretend that tax cuts don't cost money. When you cut taxes by trillions of dollars, that will be impacted and reflected on the balance sheet for what revenues the government gets. But they are about to use a trick in this big tax package to just pretend that doesn't happen. That's not what Bill always talks about in terms of transparency. That's a gimmick. It's nonsense, and they should not be allowed to get away with it. You want to respond to that before I go to Love?
That's the dynamic scoring, right, versus static scoring?
Yeah. You say, $1 trillion tax cut costs zero.
Yeah.
That's not how things work.
The mistake they keep making is the number of people who actually pay taxes it's shrinking. You can't sustain the government. We don't like to pay no taxes, but that's not how life works. And if you keep shrinking that number where no one's paying taxes, including people that make $30,000, you should pay $100 or something.
You know what paying taxes is? It's patriotic, damn it.
I don't know why this is so hard for people. You need revenue.
Here's what I love.
Come on.
I love that starting Monday, Wisconsinites can be the first people in the country to go and cast a ballot in person anywhere in the country to send a message to Donald Trump and Elon Musk to stop, that this is not what they voted for. Elon Musk is in for what, $10 million? They're paying attention to the court race between Crawford and Schimmel. If you are frustrated by what you are seeing out of Washington, if you are a Trump voter who says, wait a second, I didn't vote for my 401k to tank. I didn't vote for an international trade war. This is your opportunity to send a message, because a big win for Crawford may make rules of political gravity apply and slow the roll of the wrecking ball that Trump and Doge and Elon are taking to the federal government.
You think the turnout will reflect that message sending?
I do.
Interesting.
Not sure. I think it's going to be below 2 million. I am Rogersing this week Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to disappoint my good friend Brandon Snide. He did go get a massive lineman from the 49ers. He got a D-back from the Seattle Seahawks. Hey, Brian, we need a receiver. We need a number one receiver. Open the piggy bank. We made money last year. We made money the year before. We have room on the cap. Go get a receiver. Don't wait for the draft.
I'm gonna be a little more cautious. I like Brian Gutekunst, and I think he's got something up his sleeve, including, this is something I'm just formulating in my own head. I would not be shocked if he trades up in the draft because it's in Green Bay, just to delight the home crowd and all.
That'd
the
be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Are you going?
I don't know yet.
I'm going to go one day.
I've already been in the VIP section of a draft.
I saw you.
It's
classic Scaffidi.
Everybody saw that. I don't know if that's a classic moment, but it's sort of an embarrassing moment. All right, gentlemen, grab bag. What are we going to talk about? We'll find out after this on 620 WTMJ.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be, you can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
WTMJ.
Speaking of WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. Why do I love talking about Heiser? Well, I'm both a customer and a spokesperson, so I just bought a new vehicle. Matter of fact, I'm going to talk about customer service today. Kathy had having some work done on her new Chevy Trailblazer, and their staff, West Dallas location, is so helpful. Kathy came home and said, "Oh my God, they were fantastic. Answered all my questions. I got a loaner car while my vehicle's being serviced, and they basically got her in and out, answered all her questions, were so accommodating, so helpful, and so nice. And I said, that's not surprising. That's why Heiser's always number one in customer service. They've been doing it for over 100 years. They understand the dynamic. They understand, first and foremost, you're looking for a great vehicle. Pre-owned, new, whatever that is. They've got 5 great locations. You can check it all out at Heiser.com, whether it's a purchase, whether it's maybe an oil change you need to have done, maybe it's body shop work. They can do all of it for you. So when you think about Heiser, not just the vehicles, customer service matters. That's why they can say every day, today's your day.
The Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center is here in New Berlin, and it's ready for you and your team. From little leaguers to hardcore players and trainers, this is the place you'll want to be.
You can't beat Burkhart.
Are you over 18 years old, over 280 pounds, and interested in participating in a clinical research study? If so, you may be eligible to participate in a research study involving MRI scanning. You may qualify to participate if you are 18 years of age or older and not employed by GE Healthcare, are able to hear and understand English, are over 280 pounds, are not pregnant, do not have any tattoos or permanent makeup, have no implants with the exception of permanent orthodontic retainers and breast implants. Pierre O'Godden is a principal investigator for the study being held at 3200 North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Study scans are investigational, and the use of these devices has not been cleared by the FDA. The study is not being performed for diagnostic purposes and is not intended to replace your medical care. Your appointment will last up to 4 hours, and for your time and travel to GE Healthcare in Waukesha, you will be offered a gift card valued at $80 per appointment at GE Healthcare's MRI facility. To learn more, please call GE Healthcare at 262-312-7855. Again, that's 262-312-7855.
Blaine's Farm and Fleet's spring jeans sale is going on now, and we have a great selection of quality name brand denim at unbeatable prices. Right now, get a free $15 Blaine's gift card with every $50 purchase of Lee or Wrangler jeans. Men's Dickies jeans are $5 off, as low as $24.99. And while you're in for jeans, save on all Rain-X wiper blades. Buy one, get one half price. We've got the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right. Since we got most of the politics out of our systems, let's finish up with some grab bags.
All right, gentlemen, Bill McCutcheon, Joseph Pecky, who's up first?
Joe. I'll go. A new Pew Research survey finds 72% of U.S. adults say the pandemic did more to drive the country apart than to bring it together. Gallup poll said 47% of Americans say their life is completely back to normal. 13% say not yet, and 40% say it's never going to get back to normal. I'm here to plead with people. We got to get back to normal.
Amen.
It might be a new normal.
Amen.
Right? Like, you think about the last traumatic thing before the pandemic that happened in this country, 9/11. It was certainly a new normal, but we got back to it. Be more optimistic about our ability to talk with people we disagree with, right? To like believe in this country's ability to find a way back to normal, whatever that looks like. The pandemic is done. Things were going pretty well. Stock market suggests the economy's in for a little turmoil, but we can get back to normal. It might be a new normal. Keep the faith.
Bill McCutcheon.
So I was going to talk about March Madness. I'll wait till next week. My boys will be at Madison Square Garden tonight for the Marquette St. John's game. Should be rocking. But today I'm going to use a little time to give some advice to the White House. I think they have to be careful on economic issues and specifically on tariffs. Joe and I, let's say, had sharp exchange of views on stats and data, and there was a lot of good economic data for the White House today. To me, the only thing that matters is where Trump's approval rating is on the economy, and it's below 50 right now. Echelon released a poll about 5 minutes ago that show 47% of the people in their poll support what he's doing on the economy, 49 oppose. Let me just say to the listeners, there are polls that are much worse than that for him. On tariffs, it's 41 support, 51 disapprove. There are other polls that are worse than that. So I think they have to put their head in the game on this economy stuff. Until Trump's numbers on the economy are in the mid-50s, and by that I mean 54 to 56, that means voters haven't felt a difference yet. So don't get distracted by weekly statistics, even if they're good. They don't mean anything till voters feel them.
I couldn't agree more. I think I would describe the administration's attitude on some of these market news and some of the other warning signs is cavalier, and that's not a good thing. When folks are seeing their 401ks, their balance sheets drop dramatically, 10% S&P drop. Everybody knows the name Columbine.
Yep.
More than 25 years ago. For all of those 25 years, there was 13 victims.
Until yesterday.
Anna Marie Hochhalter, you'll probably don't remember her name. Student paralyzed in the attack all those years ago. From the waist down, paralyzed. She dies. She is now the 14th victim. And the reason I bring that up, too, because obviously no one should ever be killed in the act of going to school, which is stunning, and we've certainly had tremendous examples of that in this country. But the thing that I point out, and I will point out in my grab bag today, we haven't done a damn thing about it. It's just as likely today in a high school, middle school, grade school in this country, we could have a mass shooting.
Yep.
Because we haven't done anything serious about it. And for all the folks who say they love the fact that our government's being taken over and taking charge and all that stuff, how about doing something on this issue? For years, decades now, we have fumbled around with this. It's too important to let go. Lots of great texts today. I can't do them justice, but I will give you the overarching theme. Great show, guys. Wisdom on Friday. I love to hear that, and I respect both of you a lot. Let's tease your upfront appearance this weekend on Channel 12.
Yep.
9 a.m. Sunday morning up front with Matt and Jaron.
Yeah, Matt and Jaron do one of the best jobs of talking about politics on TV.
And I even put a tie on. I didn't have a backwards hat on.
I was a little stunned. He had a tie on.
And you don't wear the hat on.
Looking my Sunday best.
Yeah, you want to see Joe all spiffed up, looking a little poofy.
No hat on the show.
Boy.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, have a great weekend. Thanks to all of you. I'll be back on Monday. Special show talking about education in Wisconsin. Have a great weekend. The news is next on 620 WTMJ.
During the transfiguration of Jesus, Peter said that they should set up 3 tents on the mountain. Peter wanted to stay in that moment. This is Archbishop Jeffrey Grab. We also can get stuck focusing on the wrong things. We don't want